Hello, Trailblazers. Welcome to another ISV series episode. Today, our company is Unaric Guide, and our speaker is Simon Thompson, its founder. We'll have a quick intro followed by a live demo. And in the end, you can ask your questions. For that, please use the Q&A channel. This event is kindly co-hosted by 4 user groups around the world. We are hoping to have more audience from those well into the webinar. With that, I would hand over to Simon. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much, René. Appreciate it. I just noticed I can't share my screen, so I'll just do a quick introduction while you enable that, please. Yeah. Simon Thompson was CEO of a company called Improved Apps. Before starting Improved Apps, I worked at a company called Salesforce.com for nearly 6 years. I worked in the UK side of the business, but in the enterprise sales side of the company. And so I've been working with Salesforce customers since early 2007. But I started my business Improved Apps, focusing on how we can help engage users on the Salesforce screens at their point of need. So the original vision of what we did was to stop users moving away from the Salesforce screens that you're asking them to spend their time on, and make sure that we provide all the information, help and training very contextually at their point of need. Just over a year ago, my business got acquired by a company called Unaric, and we basically since then have been invested in by Unaric, and we've been continuing to evolve our product and capability to the level that I'm going to show you today. So we're just going to sorry, not share the slides, go into slideshow mode. So now I head up the Unaric Guide product within Unaric, and I'll just take you through a very quick introduction to who Unaric are. We'll then focus on some of the challenges that we help customers address around Salesforce deployments, typically around understanding how users are actually engaging with the platform, where are they spending most of their time, and what are some of the costs we find of poor adoption or poor usage across our customer base. We'll focus most of the time on the demonstration, and please do use the side channel for any questions that you have. As they come to mind, type them in there. We'll either address them as they come about, or we'll have plenty of time at the end for opening up for questions and answers. So who are Unaric? Unaric, a relatively young company, started trading about 2.5, 3 years ago. They've been acquiring Salesforce App Exchange partners. So they're very much focused on helping Salesforce customers get more out of Salesforce. You can see we've got over 2,000 odd customers, and across our customer base now, we're getting in the region of 32 million interactions from our user communities, our ultimate end users that are using these applications within our customer base. We've got a whole wealth of Salesforce experience across the company, and we're about 100+ employees now, with future acquisitions planned down the line. There's a suite of actions, around 16 of them, ranging from Unaric documents, document creation, document signature, online payments. All of these things are fully integrated to Salesforce. Some things that are really resonating with customers today is Unaric's partnership with Microsoft, helping bridge the gap between the two worlds of Microsoft and Salesforce. And some products that are on this list here that resonate very well with companies that have, Microsoft Outlook, use Microsoft Teams or Microsoft Voice to engage with your customers, is we have Voice for Microsoft Teams and Meetings for Microsoft Teams that helps customers start a call either in Salesforce or start a meeting in Microsoft Teams, and it all integrates and synchronizes, transcribes those calls, transcribes those meetings, and gets that content into Salesforce against the right records. And that's really important to our customers, especially those customers that are starting to embark on Agentforce deployments, where this rich data of previous meetings and the conversations that have happened within those meetings can be feeding the agent in terms of good data of what it should be responding when people are using Agentforce within the Salesforce environment, asking whatever questions or help and guidance they need to help them do their day job. What I'm going to be focusing on today is what I've been working on for the last 13, 14 years, which is Unaric User Analytics, Unaric Guide, and Unaric Guide Alerts. But please do go to unaric.com. We've got comprehensive material on our website, demonstrations, things like that. We'd love to go into more depth of these other products if you think we can help solve a problem within your business. Okay, something very recent came out with Gartner just this week. It might have been actually the back end of last week, is looking forward. They've been interviewing a lot of C-level executives, and I think the things that are really important that came out of that report are on here, that over 50% of chief sales officers are looking at next year of improving and investing in training and upskilling, improving coaching skills and simplifying seller roles. And really those are things that I want to sort of focus on, how we can underpin those and provide a nice way of supporting these key initiatives which have been identified for next calendar year. So when we think about Salesforce and poor adoption, sometimes people talk about adoption in different ways. Salesforce have wonderful capability with a free app called their adoption dashboards, but they're very limited in terms of what they give you understanding of what your users are actually doing. There are a number of different areas. We will share the slides and the video with everybody afterwards, but there are a number of areas that I want to call out where customers are using our technology to help save significant costs within their business. Wasted license spend. We find sometimes users have licenses to Salesforce when they only need to log in once a month to run a report or look at a dashboard. Our user analytics tool will help identify which users are actually using Salesforce in which ways and how much time they spend on different aspects of your Salesforce screens and things like that. So it can help identify where you might have underutilized licenses, where they can be reallocated to other people that might be making better use of them. Inefficiency and rework, we can see some considerable time lost by people putting incorrect data into the CRM system, or they're wasting too much time searching for information that they need when they need it. Because typically when people need help or guidance or they want validation of what they should be doing, unfortunately today a lot of that information is stored in, say, SharePoint or on the intranet or in a document somewhere remote from the Salesforce screens. And so that can be a huge loss of time by people if they have to keep going off looking for the answers that they need when they need it. And the same dovetails in with support overhead here, really, is how does a user get the answers that they need when they need them? You know, Agentforce we've heard a lot about in recent months. It's a great solution. That might be one mechanism to help answer a person's question that they might have at the point they need. But really today, if you haven't deployed Agentforce or you don't have some tools like I'm going to be showing you today, typically those people aren't getting the help and guidance that they need when they need it. And it's a significant cost to any typical enterprise on an annual basis of not addressing those how-to questions at the point users need them to help them on their way. And then another big one is slow onboarding. You know, you've hired a new person, you're asking them to log into Salesforce for the first time. What's that experience like when they log in? How quick can we help them to a point of productivity? If we can even shorten that timescale, which is typically around 3 months for a new user logging in and starting their day job to being productive, if we can even just shorten that time by a week or two, we can be saving the business money. If it's a salesperson, we can be helping them generate revenue within your business quicker. And those are the sorts of things that we help Salesforce customers like yourselves look at your different users, look at the way they're using Salesforce, and think about how we can provide very role-specific help and training and guidance to help people be more efficient, more productive, quicker than perhaps they would be without tools that I'm going to show you today. Okay, so I've touched on some of these things already. Our tools, which I'm about to demonstrate, will certainly help drive Salesforce adoption. It helps you measure what adoption looks like today. And at the end of the demonstration, I'll show you how you can get started with one of our free applications called Unaric User Analytics. That can help you start to paint a picture of what adoption looks like now. Give you a line in the sand, shall we say, of where are your users spending time, which users are doing what in Salesforce and things like that. And I urge you to have a good look at that, even test it out in a sandbox or put it into production. We've got thousands of customers using it now. It's a bit like Google Analytics for Salesforce, and it sits all neatly within your Salesforce org. But we can also help address the training costs and things like that by embedding help and training around the Salesforce screens. By providing very rich and very role-based help and guidance, hints and tips on the Salesforce screens right where users need them, we're helping them at the point they need that help. So if they're updating an opportunity name field, which is an open text field, and that might be very important to how you do your order creation further down the line, or how you do your invoicing. How do we help the salesperson at that point of need put in the right information in that open text field so that they get it right the first time and don't have to recorrect it? That's the sort of thing that we'll be looking at. I touched on user onboarding. That's very important, of drip feeding important information of what people should be doing at each step as they gradually, get used to their new role. And onboarding users isn't about just a new user starting within a new role within your company. New user onboarding, we work with a number of companies that are moving, have done acquisitions themselves and have had different orgs that they've merged into one. We think about user onboarding exactly the same way. If a user's having to log into a new Salesforce environment that might have different screens or different processes or subtleties in different ways that they might need to do something, that's still an onboarding use case as far as we're concerned. Or whether somebody moves department and they've moved from one role to another, that's still an onboarding use case from our point of view as well. How do we help them when they're in their new role or logging into a new Salesforce environment? And I've touched on the license utilization already. So just some customers that we've been working with in recent years. They fall into these different use cases and business outcomes that we work with. Not every customer has the same challenges. So the way that we like to work with customers is typically to jump on a webinar. We have a discussion around some of the challenges or what's working, what's not working. And then we tailor a demonstration of how we might address those challenges specifically for you as the customer coming to us saying, hey, well, we see these challenges, or your user analytics are pointing out these things. Give us some advice or give us some insight on how we might address those challenges. That's the way we like to operate, not taking up too much time and being able to work with customers around the business outcomes that you're trying to address at the moment. I'll call out a couple here. We've got 𝗨𝗲𝗄. They were moving from 5 different orgs into one org, and we helped them with that transition of all the users moving from their own org into one single org. And then more recently, we've helped them where a couple of those orgs have now spun off again as separate orgs. And so again, that's that onboarding scenario, making sure that when they're logging into that new org, that they're getting the help and guidance that's relevant to their specific roles. And then we have some customers that are using us in their Experience Cloud deployments. That's very important, that experience for either your customers or your partners, or if you're a non-profit organization where you might have donors or volunteers logging into a community, that they have the best experience possible as well. Typically through an Experience Cloud deployment, these people logging in, it's not their day-to-day thing that they'll be doing. It's not something that they do every day. So when they do log in, we want to make sure that they can fast track to the information that they need, or what they should be looking at, or how they should be doing something, and hold in their hand, typically in a different way than perhaps we'd look after our internal employees using Salesforce. Okay, without further ado, let's get into a demonstration. I'm going to start with Unaric User Analytics. This can be installed into your environment. It takes about 15-20 minutes maximum. If we were doing it with you, it would probably take 5 or 10 minutes, but it literally, you can go to the App Exchange, you can search for User Analytics, and you'll find this 5-star rated application, and you can install it in a couple of minutes. Configuration is probably about 5 minutes, set up some permissions, and then it will start beavering away in the background, gathering the data that I'm going to show you today. The insights are pretty incredible. We're just in the demo org here at the moment, but here we can see across the hours today which users are engaging with Salesforce in the different hours of the day. That can be easily customized if you just want to look at that by role, but this is real-time tracking hour by hour today. So if we weren't in a demo org, you know, if it's 12 o'clock your time today, then you would be seeing how that data is mapped up to 12 o'clock, but it would be blank, obviously, for the rest of the day. What pages or sub-pages are people accessing? Are they on the account page? Here we can see we've got 2,000 interactions today, people hitting the account page. This tracking can track what pages, what sub-pages people are looking at, even what Salesforce flows are being launched or how far through the Salesforce flows the user will be going. If I just scroll down here, we can see across all time what are the typical busy hours of the day for our users. We can also see what devices they're accessing Salesforce with, so whether they're coming in through a browser or whether they're using Salesforce Mobile, and if they're using Salesforce Mobile, what device are they using Salesforce Mobile on? Down here we can see other interesting things like what's the busy day of the week and things like that. So if you're rolling out an important change, some of this analytics become really important if you're going to be rolling out a change to the service team and you want to look at when's the most quiet time to roll out a change, so that when people come online that they're going to be seeing the help and train guidance. These analytics will give you that picture. We can also see what your license utilization's like, and also see who are the most engaged users. So there's different ways that you can dice and slice this, but you will get this dashboard out of the box if you just installed the app. And as I say, it sits there quietly in the background, just gathering this data. It also monitors how much time people are spending on things as well. So there's another dashboard that goes into more detail of, you know, if they're going through, say, an order process or a new opportunity creation process, how much time are they actually spending doing those things? What's the reason for this? Why should you care how much time they're spending doing things? Well, if you think you've rolled out a process of somebody configuring a product, building a quote and getting it out, and you think that should only take, say, 4 minutes or 5 minutes, these analytics will give you visibility of those that are doing it within the right sort of time frame and those that are spending longer doing it than you think they should. Those people who are spending longer doing things than you think you should suddenly become your targeted user group that perhaps you want to get on a webinar and just retrain them, give them some, you know, hand holding and make it very focused. And what's important to our customers about that is you're no longer getting all of the users on a webinar going, we're going to train you up on our order process again and take you through everything you need to know. You can just focus on the people that you think need that help and guidance. And that's really important to our customers. It's really important to your users as well, because they're not wasting their time being trained on things that actually our analytics are showing they're doing a very, very good job managing and using. So that's Unaric User Analytics. It's a free app. It retains data for 7 days, the free app. And if you want full data retention, it's only $128 per org per month to get full data retention in terms of overall time, login interactions, and retaining all of the data. Some customers will export this data out into their preferred business intelligence tool, whether that be Tableau, Power BI, you know, etc. You can export this content. It sits in one custom object called Help Interactions. It's very well structured data, and some of the nice things customers do is they're building their own dashboards with better visualization, heat maps, journey mapping, and things like that based on the data that our app is gathering from your org. The final thing really to say on user analytics, none of this data leaves your Salesforce org. We are what Salesforce would call 100% native. 100% native meaning the app gets installed into your org, no data leaves it. We don't have access to customer orgs. So as you trust Salesforce and where your data sits within Salesforce, we're just an extension to that data. You have full control over who can see this data, who's allowed to report on it, who's allowed to look at it, etc. No different than you manage any other aspect of Salesforce. Okay. Let's move along to now a Unaric guide. Unaric guide offers different analytics, and I'll show you from a user's point of view in the demonstration next how we get this data. So in this scenario here, we can see across our org what the current sentiment is across our user community. Okay, so we can see generally things are good, green, positive. We've got some negative feedback coming in from our users. Neutral, negative coming in from our users, and we've also got some negative feedback. I could click on that and I could drill in and I could see which users were providing that negative feedback. And it's our application that helps provide this feedback mechanism. Excuse me. We can see what the engagement's like over time in this org. We can see which users are the most engaged in terms of providing feedback. We can see with the in-app help, training, hints and tips, which are the most popular, what we call help topics that users are engaging with. This provides really nice insight of what people are actually engaged with in terms of help and training and things like that. We can see what the overall sentiment is like, broken down by user's role. And also we can see what the overall engagement like, and users have the ability to comment on your content as well, and we can see how many comments are in the application here as well. So there's 5 different dashboards that we package with Unaric Guide, and this is our flagship digital adoption tool. These are sorts of analytics and information that you can get from your users engaging with Salesforce once you've deployed our application into your environment. Okay, so let's have a look then what the user experience is like and how do we get this data. I'll just switch over here to the demo tab, and we're just on a home page here. We've got normal sort of tabs across the top here with accounts, opportunities, cases, etc. On the home page here, there's a few things that would be different from your environment. We can see in-app alerts on the top right here. I've got 3 alerts going in across my banner. These alerts have been targeted to me as an individual. They're not broadcast to everybody and hope that something resonates with somebody. These can be automated based on data changing within Salesforce. So for example, if I look at, yes, I've got an example here, the third one from the customer service director that I logged in right now has got some P1 cases, some high priority cases that I need to act on. We've got another one about data protection here from our chief privacy officer. The user, myself, can click on these. I can open up the information, and we can see in that P1 cases example here that it's not just an alert telling me that I've got some high priority cases to work on. It's actually giving me a link to the list of high priority cases that need my attention now. Why is this valuable? Well, without a tool like this, if it was a call center environment, you might be asking your various team members, don't forget to go and look at your high priority cases before you go home and check whether they're all updated or whatever. Instead of asking them to remember that, we can automatically schedule an alert to go out maybe half an hour before their shift ends or before the end of the day, that will send out one alert like this that will appear very visually on their screen and provide them a list of the things that need their attention. So again, if you will, spoon feed in each user with what are the important things that we need them to go and look at and go and do, that traditionally would have perhaps been them having to remember to go and do those things. Okay, there's another example here. You can see that I've now looked at that list. It's now removed it from the banner here. Alternatively, here's another one that's data protection. we can see it's about our quarterly compliance, and I'm being asked to confirm that I've actually read and understood this. So again, this could be something that goes out quarterly, a reminder for people to be doing something or how they should be compliant. In today's world, a very good example of this might be look out for phishing attacks and reminding people on a regular basis what phishing attack might look like. Don't ever give out your Salesforce credentials. It would be that type of communication that could be automatically being scheduled and ask people to acknowledge that they've actually read and understood that important information for your business. Again, if I acknowledge that, we can see that we're capturing for each user we've targeted with this full life cycle of this communication, of when it was displayed in my banner. That's when I first logged in and I saw it come up on my banner on the right hand side. When I opened it, so I logged in and opened it pretty straight away, and then when did I actually acknowledge it? Somebody with the right permissions can monitor all of these communications and see how users are engaging with these communications. Are they engaging with them in a timely fashion? In that scenario where we're asking the user to acknowledge that they've actually read and understood something, did they do it within the time frame we asked them to do it, or did they do it but miss the deadline? So again, very granular data that gives you an understanding of the sorts of behavior of users around your environment. But what's really important from a user's point of view is I don't have so many things that I need to think about or remember. I just know that I log into Salesforce, my homepage will show me these critical alerts that are personal to me, that will show me the things that I need to act on. Now, I'll just show you one other thing that's very different from your environment, I suspect. Down here, I'm on the homepage, I've got this in-app help here. When I open up this is opening up our knowledge base, essentially. Because I'm on the home page, I get to see everything. I get to see information about our key processes, whether it's around managing leads, account management, opportunity management. I could drill into any of these. I can see any known issues. I can see competitive analysis information, etc. Anything I click on the left, we show content for on the right. And here is an example of where we're getting some of those analytics from as well. We will know that this user opened up this in-app help down here, and you can call it whatever you like, but in our demo org, we've called it in-app help. But we will also know whatever they click on the left, we also know what they view on the right. And in this case, we're asking some feedback. Did this help? If the user clicks yes, then we know that the user was on the home page when they opened up this content and provided that feedback. So we know the user, we know their role, all the way that you've set up Salesforce today. You don't have to do anything with our app in terms of getting this understanding. You just have to deploy the app and use our tools to create the embedded help and training, which we can help you with. So in this case, you can see it's quite rich in terms of its content. We can surface and embed videos right in and around Salesforce screens. Users can bookmark content whenever they want to, and they can also comment on content too. And that's really the power of our application, is it's just something that's there on the utility bar, and it's very contextual to who the user is. What is their role? So if I pop across to an opportunity here, this might look very normal type of opportunity. We can see the details of the page here, but if I open up that in-app help here, you can see that we've filtered out all of the other process help, all the other help and training. It's now just focused on some key content about our opportunity process, because we know the user's now looking at an opportunity. Okay, and again, they could engage in any of these help topics, learn about the different stages of the help topics, and go through the sales process, learning about what they need to do at each stage, for example. Now, that's great, but it doesn't satisfy all users. We like to give users a choice of how they engage with that content. So here we can see what we have as field level help. This is standard Salesforce. Hopefully you're taking advantage of this today. One of the challenges with standard field level help is it's text and not rich text. And it's the same text no matter who looks at that. So if you have this field shared with different people in different roles, you might want to be putting different help on that field depending on who the role of the person is. You can't do that with standard Salesforce. And that problem is also extended if you use this field in a community and you want different help for your internal users versus help for your community users. Well, what we do is take that and put it on steroids. So here we can see these blue question marks here next to the name field. I click on that. We're now just opening up one of our help topics, which is giving people an understanding of what the naming convention should be for populating this name field. And we can see that it's rich in terms of its content. We can also facilitate feedback from the user. And I've just clicked yes, that was helpful. And we can also embed more videos and training right in, even at field level. So this is relevant to the user and they can dip in and out, whether they're on a new opportunity or editing an existing opportunity. This field level help can work on any standard object, any custom object. If you're using dynamic pages of Salesforce, then of course we can embed our content around those too. So no matter how you've customized Salesforce, we can put very contextual help and training right at the user's point of need. And that's what I was talking about when we touched on the slides, is without a system like this, you might have beautiful user guides, you might have nice documentation sitting somewhere remote from Salesforce, or even if you've invested a bit of time customizing Salesforce and providing links to it on the page, you're still expecting a user to click on it, go somewhere else, try and find the answer they want within it, and hopefully they find it and then get back to Salesforce to carry on with their task in hand. With Unaric Guide, we can take that content, we can break it down into these what we call bite-sized chunks of learning, and we can place that content around your Salesforce screens. Now, some customers say to us, oh, well, we've got beautiful content and it's all sitting somewhere else. We've got a learning management system where people can do module-based training and learning. But how can we bring that together? That's not a problem for us. If you don't want to bring it into Salesforce, we can provide links to it. So here we're on primary competitor. The user for this opportunity has chosen business objects as the competitor. Because they've chosen that option as business objects for this opportunity, when they click the question mark next to primary competitor, we're now giving them some links to content that's sitting in those other places, and we don't mind where it sits, whether it's in an LMS system, whether it's on your intranet, doesn't matter where it is, but we're using us as a window to bring that content into the Salesforce screens and tell the user where we're getting it from, but also give them some information about what that is before they click it. So they could easily be wanting some help with business objects of how to win this business. And this is a good example where we're surfacing competitive information so that the user will say, hey, I'm up against this competitor. As soon as they update that record, they click the question mark next to it, and then we're serving up everything they need in order to position themselves best against that competitor. Huge time savings, especially for salespeople. Another thing you might notice when I turn up on this page is close date is red. Okay, so we can provide very dynamic content driven by the data and also apply different styling to the pages. Even when I'm just looking at this record, we're drawing a user's attention to a particular field. Why is this red? Well, when I click on the question mark there, it's providing me a help topic that's letting me know that this date is in the past. A few different worked examples there. We can see compelling event. That's more what we would call softer selling skills. What's a compelling event? How are you going to actually win this business? Has the customer actually got a reason to do something by a certain date and time? Well, quite often that useful sales support, sales approach of upskilling sales teams and making sure that they're extracting this information when they're having customers with the conversation, again, is normally buried deep in a sales methodology module somewhere, or it's in a sales process document remote. Again, another interesting example that customers love with us is to be able to bring that information right into the page where the user needs it. Okay, you'll just notice here on the right-hand side, we've got a little question mark here. Your system administrator can drop these little question marks around the page wherever they like, and we can do interesting things when the user clicks on it. In this case, we're on the Chatter tab, and there's a little question mark there. So if I don't know what Chatter is, I can click that question mark. What it's doing now is it's popping up that utility bar, and it's recontextualizing the help that's needed for Chatter. In this case, it's showing me a help topic that tells me everything that I need to know about Chatter. Okay, and again, we've got a different question we're asking here. Was this accurate or not? And the user can choose whatever option they like. You'll also notice that we can all give paths to learn more. So although this might provide the quick answer to the user wondering what Chatter was about or how they should be using it, this would be your content in terms of help and training of what's needed or what you want your users to do. But we can also provide links that are related to the help topic that they're looking at to take the user on a journey, again, to other content that maybe if they've got time to do a training module, if you've got that training module in your learning management system or it's on your intranet, that's an example where we provide that link here, where you might have to give the quick answer to help them with the task in hand, but a path for them to learn more if they want to learn more about it. Okay, another thing very popular with our customers is surfacing sales process documentation, or from a service point of view, if you've got service or SLAs with customers, then customers like to use this capability for surfacing SLA related information on cases, for example. We can see sales process tab here. It provides top level view. Think of these as almost like slides, you know, individual slides that normally would be in a slide deck, again, remote from where the user needs it, but we can bring it in a very engaging way on the page, and we will know that the user was on this page, how much time they've spent on this page, what have they clicked on as they click through this. Also, we are monitoring how much people are scrolling, how much time do they spend on different parts of the screen as well. As I'm just going about looking at this opportunity, everything is being tracked at a fairly granular level so that you can really understand, as I said earlier, where people are spending time on different screens of Salesforce. So I'm on this opportunity here. This wouldn't be a demonstration if I didn't show you at least a little bit of Agentforce and how we work with Agentforce. We've talked about the granular data that we're capturing and what content users are engaging with and whether they're providing positive, neutral or negative feedback on that content as they go about their day job, as they're just updating, you know, records in Salesforce. Well, all of that useful data is really good for feeding the agent information about what's working and what's not working. So I've just popped in here, I'm on this opportunity, it certainly needs analysis, and I've just popped in here, how can I progress this opportunity? So I can ask Agentforce that simple question, and what it's done is it's come back and it's provided some guidance. So it's recognized my opportunities that needs analysis, and it's also pointed out that I've got no compelling event on there, and it's providing me a help topic in here, right here, to help me on my way. And it's also recognized that 18 of my peers have said that that content was useful to them. So again, it's not just providing some help and guidance, it's also validating that content that other people have provided positive feedback on this same information that was presented to them. And again, just like we saw at field level help, we can provide links to other resources to take the user on a journey if they so wish. So it becomes very powerful, very engaging. We're working more and more with Agentforce and building agents for our customers. Really, I look at Agentforce as just another mechanism for users. Some people love asking questions and following up with another question and things like that. What we want Agentforce to be responding with is 100% accurate answers. Without a capability like ours, with embedding, help and training, the way that I've been showing you today, if a user asked, how do I progress my opportunity? it's a high risk environment that we might be getting some creative answer that might not be what we want the user to actually do, or more importantly, they might go to a different opportunity, ask the same question and get a very different answer the next time. So the guardrails of what we're putting up, of how we deploy agents for our customers, is enforced by the content that we have within our application, making sure that those are the answers and the responses that the agents are serving up reliably, rather than the AI being too creative for our users. Okay, so quite important is different ways that users can engage with information. If I just pop across to another area of the application, I talked about that compelling event, and I showed you that we had help around compelling event. But what if I know, and I'm waiting for a customer to call me, and I know that I've got to find that compelling event, and I take the call from the customer, and I'm realizing, oh yes, my boss has asked me about that compelling event. I can just use global search. Okay, this is just another mechanism of me starting to type information in global search, and there we can see it's coming up with the results, finding me that help topic. This help topic was against the field, you might remember, on opportunity. I could have found this compelling event on my mobile device, or by just searching very quickly. It's the same help topic, but we're just providing different mechanisms, the way a user can get access to that help and training and guidance, the way that that user prefers to do so. We know across some of our customers that some people just live in Salesforce search. Other customers love the fact that you've got this very contextual help and training. You can see now, because I was on accounts, it's showing me account related help. If I move across back to a dashboard, the user engagement, as I move across to a different dashboard, you can see now that I'm on a particular dashboard. It's updating the content on the left, and it's giving me insight of what these analytics on this dashboard actually mean and what I should be doing. So again, you could be building these different help topics that help describe what are users looking at when they're looking at a dashboard. And all of that is very unique in this case, all from the utility bar down here, but providing the user richer understanding of what they should be doing when they're looking at this particular dashboard. So again, very dynamic, very engaging, and very user-friendly. If we just stop from a user's point of view engaging with this, it's very easy if we're looking at the analytics, and I drill into negative feedback here. So if we think we're not an end user now, we're somebody who's looking after and maintaining this, I've just clicked on the negative feedback. I want to see what people are complaining about, okay, in terms of providing negative feedback. So we can see negative feedback on the opportunities layout. We can see we've had various people providing different feedback on different help topics. This becomes my short list. If I've only got half an hour just to look at these analytics and try and address user challenges, then this would be one dashboard component I would use to focus on what needs updating. I can see what their feedback is. We can see some people have been providing negative feedback on compelling event, for example. If I want to update that, take on board that negative feedback, I just click the link from the report and I can pop this into edit mode, and we provide the tools for you to be able to easily look at those analytics in deeper sense, if you will, and quickly make the update. When I hit save on this, it will immediately be available to anybody else straight after I hit save that that update has happened. Okay. So from an author's point of view, we provide the tools to help you easily put help and training around your environment. And I'm very conscious of time. I want to make sure that we've got plenty of time for any questions, but we can essentially provide help and training across any page, any layout. We can do interesting things like these in-page nudges that can turn up on certain records when I'm looking at something. Maybe we're looking at this data and we need to grab the user's attention and let them know that they're just looking at this record. They need to do something with it. This is something we call a nudge. And over the top here, we can see, you might remember from our homepage, we had the carousel of targeted alerts. Here we can see when I'm on leads, we're just showing that in like a breaking news ticker format. So all of the colors, all of the branding, everything you've seen, the way that we display information is very flexible how you want it deployed within your environment. Okay, I shall just pop back to slides, and then we got a couple more just to finish off with, and then I'll open up for Q&A. So I touched on mobile. With our tools, you build the experience the way you want it to be, typically in desktop, but you can do it on mobile as well. But the important thing is whether a user logs into Salesforce through a browser or whether they log in through a mobile device, they get the same experience. They get access to exactly the same content, very contextual, just like we've been talking about. Accenture did a study on one of our customers. This was probably a year ago now, to be honest, but 70% fewer support calls. You know, those were users leaning on an individual or logging a case saying that I can't do this, or this isn't working for me. How do I do this? How do I do that? 70% reduction in those cases being logged, because we're helping the user at their point of need. Significant training, time saving in terms of authoring content, traditional approaches to authoring content. You're having to put context in your documents, screenshots, things like that, which take time. It's screenshots that make your documentation out of date very quickly, because you might move a button around the screen, you might move a field around the screen. As soon as you start moving things around or changing things in Salesforce, traditional approaches to documentation start to fall apart. With a solution like Unaric Guide, you're putting content right on the thing that you want help and training with. If that moves around the screen, our content moves with it. So you're not having to spend so much time creating content in the traditional sense. You use our tools to think about where people, and the analytics to think about where people are spending their time, where do they need some help and training, and you're using our tools to place that content, help, guidance right at the point they need it. Okay, last thing before we open up to Q&A. It's always a journey. Where do you start with this? Where do you start? Well, we encourage you to go to the App Exchange, have a look, search for user analytics, and you'll come across Unaric user analytics. As I said earlier, it's 100% free. You can deploy it into your org, and that will keep a rolling 7 days of data. Talk to us, get us on a webinar. We're happy to review that data that it is providing and help you make sense of it if you need that help. What customers tend to do next is then the next easiest app is to deploy the in-app alerts, you know, the scrolling banner or the carousel of alerts. That's a nice step forward to starting to engage people and automate alerts that go out to people. And then the third step really is starting to embed your help and training. You can start wherever you like on this journey, but I urge you to have a look at the user analytics. It's genuinely there, it's free, and even if you want unlimited usage of it, it's only about $1,500 a year for an entire org to have full access to everything. Okay, I shall now open up for any questions from anybody and leave you with a thought from Lord Kelvin there.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. I think this was really quite incredible.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I've learned so much, and I trust the feeling is shared. In terms of Q&A, we have 2 existing questions that were asked by Rodrigo, our kind co-host. Do you maybe wish to ask them yourself, Rodrigo?
Sure thing, René. Thank you. Hi, Simon.
Hi.
Well, when I see these links on the in-field help, I was wondering if a user clicks on that link, that leads to a new tab on the browser, or does it open right in there? I think I saw some that opened the information over the same space.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if there's any external link that can be used there.
It can vary. Some customers like us to keep the content within the window, so almost like a pop-up modal. Some customers just want to make that link, take the user, say, to an explicit document that's sitting in SharePoint. So it can vary, really. Depends on the content and where you prefer, or where a customer prefers to keep that content. Wherever possible, we believe the best experience from a user's point of view is to surface the quick answer, the quick bit of help that will help them with the task in hand. So even if we've got content that we must store remotely, an example of must store remotely quite often with customers is standard operating procedures. Maybe you've got a team of people that are creating, maybe you're a regulated business and these standard operating procedures are audited and no one must change them and everyone must follow them. That will be a perfect example where maybe we provide a snippet, a quick answer in the page that tells them what they could be doing to carry on with the task in hand, but a link to the larger SOP that might be sitting wherever those SOPs are stored. So the answer to that is a bit of we can do it different ways depending on what content you've got and what's your preference of how you roll this out. But our general best practice is if you can surface the content on the page right where the user is, then we've got no chance of losing them if we can do that.
And that gets, I mean, like defined by you, or it can be user defined. I mean, like
so yeah, good question, Rodrigo. There's different permissions that are part of our package. There's an end user permission set. They just get to engage with the content and provide feedback, etc. There's what we call a help author permission set. The help author permission set gives you the power to be able to create this content and maintain it, and also provide, you know, the journeys that people need to go on. There's also a help analyst permission set. That might be someone who's only got the authority to look at the reports and dashboards and can't author content. And then there's a help administrator. A help administrator has the power to change the branding, change the look and feel, the styles of those question marks, and configure our application. So there's different permissions that you can grant to different people. You don't have to talk to Unaric in order to determine who has those capabilities. We're giving you the tools to manage and own this yourself and be self-sufficient within your own org.
Oh, thank you. And I think that even takes the answer to the next question, was if a customer can change the UI colors of the Unaric guide, or make it SLDS2 compatible, or
yeah, it's already SDLS2 compatible. Customers can customize it. We encourage it. We want this to take Salesforce UI to another level in terms of branding or logos and colors and things like that that are used. So there's basic level customization, which gets the basic level look and feel, looking like a customer. And then we can even go into CSS and things like that, if custom CSS if necessary. But most of our customers, 99% of our customers, are happy with the out the box, what I call basic branding, just to make it start to feel like their own. So if customers are using the new look and feel of Salesforce, then our application fits in and works very nicely with that new look and feel. When did that get rolled out? Probably about 4 months or so ago. It's an option to roll out or change your app's UI to that new look and feel, but we work very well in that as well. The branding piece, incidentally, is very, very important to customers who've deployed Experience Cloud. You know, when you've got when you as a customer have got Experience Cloud and you're asking your customers or your partners to log in, then branding becomes even more important than for your internal users. So we support that.
Thank you, Simon.
You're welcome. Thanks for your questions. Have you got any other questions?
Please, if the audience has other questions, do go ahead and ask them. Don't be afraid. Otherwise, I would also have one or two questions or comments. So for anybody who has worked with the user login history, we would know that it is limited to 6 months. So on the paid edition of the user analytics, Simon, we would get past that, right?
100%, yes, unlimited.
Yeah. And yeah, the 6 months are really quite limiting because it's a rolling window and you lose data all the time.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You know, we've tried to make this accessible to everybody with the free version to prove the value of it. And then hopefully it's only a small jump up to be the paid for version, which is unlimited data retention, unlimited usage. So you really get to see seasonalities, if that's important to your business, of engagement, and all of the data, as I mentioned earlier, is yours. The other important thing to point out is this is way beyond just which users have logged in. You know, it's what things are people spending time on, what areas of the application, and having that bigger picture beyond 6 months is very important. I touched on as well the adoption dashboards that Salesforce have as part of their Salesforce Labs free app. That's good as well, but it only gives you limited visibility on the login history that you're talking about, as well as what objects people are creating records in, what are they updating, deleting. It gives you no visibility on what people are actually doing, how much time they're spending on it. The only thing that compares with what I've shown you around the user analytics would be if you've invested in Salesforce Shield and you're using Salesforce Shield to develop and build your own adoption tool. So we've focused on making this free for customers, quick to install. Go and look up the App Exchange user analytics, and you could be kicking the tire, you know, having a look at what I've just shown you today in a developer org or a sandbox or whatever, and looking at the data. Some customers use it purely in a sandbox, in a UAT sandbox environment, where they're asking users to log in and do some testing for them before things go to production. They use the analytics just to look at whether the users are actually conducting the tests that we're asking them to do. So you're getting really good insight of whether people are actually testing the functionality that you're about to roll out to production. Very powerful.
Amazing. If I may follow up with not follow up, but ask a more technical interface question. So you showed the normal tabbed application. What's it called? If somebody has his application in console mode with the vertical tabs, do you also manage to track on which kind of page the user is in that mode?
Yes, absolutely. Because we're quite long in the tooth and we've been doing this quite a long time, we still come across customers using Classic. We support console, we support Community Cloud, Sales Service Cloud. I know it's called Agentforce Cloud or Sales Cloud now, or something. I can't remember what the recent term is. We support all the core clouds and all the core interfaces that Salesforce has, as well as how it's deployed on mobile. So yeah, console's quite popular for call center customers who have set up console and having different tabs and sub tabs, secondary tabs, etc. So all the tracking works well in there as well.
Thank you so much. Is there some kind of functionality where a user can say, despite all of the help that is available to me, I'm lost, like for a newbie or so, and they could click like a button and get live help or something?
Yes, we don't offer live help, but we do offer different mechanisms where somebody might ask a question or comment on a bit of content saying, this still didn't help me, I'm stuck. As soon as that's logged, we can work with the customer. If the author needs to be alerted with an in-app notification that someone's just logged that, then they can jump on that. We haven't got a live chat. We're doing more and more interesting things with Agentforce now, which is, you know, getting closer to sort of like a live chat environment. But a lot of customers are just happy that if a user raises their hand and says, I still need help with this, that they're getting that request coming through either as an email alert or an in-app Salesforce native alert or a ping on their mobile through the native alert, letting them know that a user needs help immediately. So may not be real-time chat per se, but normally it satisfies our customers if they want to be that reactive to customers' feedback.
Yeah, amazing. I have my final question sort of incorporates like a roadmap theme. There's some stuff. So I'm not a user experience specialist, but in recent years the voice channel has come up more and more. And for capturing feedback, have you thought, have you got this requirement for somebody just talking into the app what their problems are and somebody figuring out how to help this person afterwards? And,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's quite a few things that are on the roadmap of what Salesforce are doing around voice and things. So yes, I mean, we have an active team that are constantly looking at improving. We listen to customers all the time of how they want things to be working, what they're doing, and we drive our roadmap based on that feedback. So, you know, we're always looking to innovate, you know, even things like integrating natively to Agentforce. If we were having this conversation even a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to demonstrate what we were doing on what we now can do with Agentforce, you know. So as Salesforce evolves its platform and its technology, we're always looking at ways we can take advantage of that to provide the best experience for our ultimate end users, your end users.
Mm-hmm. Are there customers who very much leverage more than others the process mining part? And are you extending this kind of process mining module to become more, not standalone, but more of a big feature?
We're looking into, there's quite a few different areas we're looking into trying to take advantage of at the moment. But at the moment, what we're focusing on is what things we can do quickly out the box now. And, you know, those are, everything I've shown you today are things that we can do. You could install Unaric Guide or User Analytics or Unaric Guide alerts, and you could be doing those things, everything I've shown you today. There's a lot of things that our development team and strategy team are looking into where we want to be taking this. And we have quite a strong roadmap of that direction of travel. And you've touched on a few areas already where, you know, I know the teams are looking into those different aspects, but I can't really provide much more information on that at this stage at the moment, but we're happy to follow up if someone has specific interest on some of those areas.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. Maybe a final question. So if somebody decides to implement Unaric Guide, would you have professional services or so to accompany them? And,
yeah, sorry, we work with various partners in different regions around the world. So either ourselves can help out. We're big fans of customers being self-sufficient with this, but if you want it as a project and you want us to do all the heavy lifting and hand it over as a finished project, we can absolutely help scope that project and find a suitable partner, hopefully in your region, that would help us with that. We've got a number of partners we work with already that have done this lots of times for our customers.
Yeah. Thank you for the wealth of information that you have provided us today. So I'll be thanking all of the participants, our co-hosts, including Rodrigo. Final word from you, Rodrigo, and from Simon before we close.
Just thank you for this presentation, Simon. It's amazing your tool and how you get a lot of customers extra for participation over here.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity of spending time with you today. Thank you, and I urge you to at least have a look at Unaric User Analytics. As I say, it's a free tool, even if you're just using the 7 days data retention, and it's a small step up if you want to go further. But yeah, have a play. Go and have a tinker with it, and get in touch with us if you need any help or you want to do a custom demonstration within your business and talk about some of the challenges you have. We'd be more than delighted to engage with you and have that chat. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. We'll be sending out the video recording and the slides, as Simon already pointed out. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.